All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast, episode number 14 today. 14. And man, there has been so much happen in the past few days since our last episode. It is pretty wild how much is going on in the world.
Yeah, it's I saw somebody say the other day, lone wolf. I think it's pluralized now. It's just I just opened up the news just now. Literally just opened up, saw New York cop was shot point blank range.
Man,
they gang tackled him and took him in. But yeah, it's everywhere right now.
Well, for this episode, we figured we might talk a little bit about what we kind of do here on a more regular daily basis as far as training goes, as far as tactics go. But it's been really encouraging to see some more headlines on the news where people are actually stepping up and being that face, being that barrier between evil and the innocent.
Yeah.
One of the recent occurrences that's happened has been the mass stabbing that just happened. And the video that's circulated that I've seen has been this hero, from what I understand. He is a veteran, and he drew and he held the knifeman at gunpoint, and he had a posse of a couple guys with him that were basically just like, put the knife down. We're not going to let you do this.
Yeah.
You need to put it down. And that was cool to see, because we have talked on this podcast a couple of times about why is it that so few people step up. And I mean, we talked about the incidents in Boulder with the guy throwing Molotov cocktails at the elderly and nobody doing anything. And then we talked about Virginia Tech. We talked about, what was it, 28 or 38, something like that.
32 people.
Yeah. 32 people. And as we had pointed out, I mean, you got to be thinking whenever you're standing in that situation that if you're a fifth in line, you'd step up and do something, try something. So we've talked about a lack of action, and we've even brought it full circle into talking about, well, what could be leading people to feel like that they can't do anything, maybe like their hands are tied. And we talked about phones a lot on the podcast. We talked about maybe it's because we have a culture that's so used to watching that they aren't as used to doing anything about it. They're just watching the world on their phones and watching things pass by, but not necessarily programmed and ready should there be an instance where someone has to step up to the plate.
Right.
And they're just ready to watch. And that's why we saw in the Boulder instance people pulling up their phones and videoing rather than stepping up and being like, hey, stop this. What are you doing? Or at least trying to rush the guy, tackle the guy, whatever. And I mean, as you and I have talked about before, if somebody was there carrying, they would have had every right and ethically could have shot and taken that guy out, because why? He was threatening lives. He was a threat. And here we have this mass knifeman who has stabbed multiple people, and there was a guy that was there carrying, and he stepped up, held the guy at gunpoint, and then had his posse of people with him. At what point, I'm not sure when this happened. All I've seen is that highlight clip. I don't know at what point this guy actually encountered him, drew, and then some of the other guys followed suit, not withdrawing on him necessarily. The only thing that I saw was one guy had a gun that was drawn, and then the rest of the guys were basically just like had his back. Yeah, which is kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see that video?
I did. You talk about like the parking lot video where they're going between
it was in
cars?
the parking lot.
Yeah. I didn't see anybody else with a weapon. I did read. This stuff just drives me crazy, because here you have a dude who's gone on a terrorist. Let's call it what it is: terrorism rampage. Multiple people injured intentionally, so knowingly, willingly, intentionally goes out, pulls a knife, cuts, stabs 11 different people. Guy pulls a weapon on him, and by all rights, this is where I think the left and the right go crazy against each other, because I saw things online like, I'd have smoked that guy right away, and then there was other people like, that guy needs to learn how to hold his gun proper. I'm going, well, let's break down that paradox for a second. So we have put people over here that are like, just shoot him, and then there's other people that are like, he needs to hold the gun the right way. What's the overarching thing that everybody should be looking at is you had a grown man who saw violence, who saw evil, stepped up into the face of it, contained it, kept the guy at bay until the cops got him. Like, by every definition, that's just a hero. I don't care,
Yeah.
honestly, how he was holding his gun. I couldn't believe people even said that. I mean, like, it just blew me away that they were saying that. But was he within his rights to stop that threat or eliminate that threat permanently? Yeah, he was. He didn't. I wasn't in his head, and I've had enough opportunity in law enforcement to witness hundreds of scenarios like that. And when I say hundreds, I literally mean hundreds in my career where there could have been a life or death moment and the cop and or the citizen chose life, but stopped the situation, from violent domestics to in-store robberies, whatever they may be. I mean, just go back and recount. I'm but one guy. It's what people have a hard time with, and I say this in training all the time. Do self-defense training in people's homes, tactical self-defense. They're like, hey, bad guy comes in my house. I want to be able to move. I want to be able to go up and down stairs. Me and my wife need to know what to do. We have our kids in the house. And one of the things that I always point out to them is this is great training. I think it's paramount. I think it's crucial. I think everybody should have it. You should know how to defend yourself and your property within the legal limits of the law, of course. But I do say one thing is I've had a couple folks, not that I've trained, but I've was the cop on the scene where an intruder came in. The intruder was armed. The dad, in one particular case, did take down the suspect and shot him. And what came out of it was crazy. And this is what I think a lot of people don't realize when they think, oh, I've got a gun, I'm good to go. There's also a psychological component that goes with it. In that particular scenario, that guy died on their living room floor. And they had 3 kids. And the 3 kids and the mom did not want to come back into that house, like, ever again. And they ended up selling the house.
Yeah.
And you think about it, you got your life, your family, you've raised your kids, you got your memories, you got everything is there. And then all of a sudden, somebody creates in a 3-5 second window, an act of evil kicks in your door and you're forced to defend yourself and your family, and you take that action. And the action is correct. You stop the threat, you stop the evil, but you're not prepared for the psychological component on the other side. And that dude in that parking lot may very well didn't want to end a life, but he wanted to stop the threat from somebody's life being taken. And I have to think somewhere in my head that not only did he do the right thing, he did what he believed was right for him too, which is powerfully important, because not everybody that has a gun needs to go out and go shoot somebody just because somebody's doing something bad. Now, in the case where people are getting violently injured, yeah, you have a right to stop that. And, that's a tough balance, I think, for some people. So I just bring that up because it's one of those things that I get questioned on that a lot when, especially like concealed carry classes. People are like, well, I'll just pull my gun out and stop them. Okay. But understand there's a powerful element that goes with that.
Yeah.
And you might be the kind of person that can do that and be completely justified and fine and sleep at night, and there's other people that can't. But I just love the fact that the guy stepped up in the face of it, and he was a hero by comparison to that video I saw on the street. And I don't know where it was at. I want to say New York, where that mob attacked that couple like 3 days ago. Did you see that?
I didn't.
They counted 100 people holding a cell phone. That was the kicker, filming it, and one person stepped into the middle of it. So 1 out of 100 stepped up to try to stop this mob, and they beat these. It was just a random attack. They just jumped a couple walking down the street and just started kicking and throttling them. So we do live in a society where social media, it was more important for 99 people to film it or 100 people to film it than it was to go in there and stop the attack.
Man.
It's hard. It's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
Well, the instance with this knife attacker and the person who helped intervene there in the situation, that's kind of a tough one, because did he do the right thing? Was he a hero? Absolutely. But there's definitely different opinions and different approaches to solving that particular problem.
Sure.
With it being that there was already bloodshed, that had already been malicious attacking with a weapon, with a deadly weapon. Yeah, every right, you could have absolutely taken him out. And I think that a lot of guys, most guys, knowing that this guy had already stabbed other people, would have just shot him.
It
would have been over.
Sure.
But it's kind of hard to argue. I'm sure that more details will unfold as more investigation is done and maybe even possibly more footage is released. But I don't know from the video. He obviously in the video in the parking lot, he's not stabbing anybody else.
No.
So I'm sure that the person who had him at gunpoint was ready if he actually needed to.
Right.
If he was going to try to stab somebody else to shoot him.
Yeah.
But you heard it in the video. You heard de-escalation. They were saying, drop the knife, throw it away, put it down, stop this. And he's kind of just like running circles, juking and jiving between cars and all this, that, and the other, but was still armed, still had a knife in his hand. Yeah. Most people, they're putting him down.
Yeah.
Most people are going to shoot him. So on one hand, you have to give him the credit that he's due. And on one hand, we have to kind of analyze this and think, well, are we wrong or are we right for those people who would have just put him down?
Yeah, I didn't bring that up to say it was right or wrong. It was just interesting that the first 3 comments I pulled up was, one was, why didn't he smoke him? The other one was, good job, kept him at bay. And the other one was, he needs to learn how to hold his gun. And I mean, 3 comments in, and I was like, wow, that changed fast. So, in review of it, of what I saw, I didn't see the stabbings, obviously. I don't know that anybody has at this point. But seeing what I saw with all the amount of people around, that guy absolutely could have lunged. He could have done something. There was a lot of people in close quarters with that guy. Based on the scenario, I would have ended the threat for sure on my end. I still stand here and praise this guy for keeping him at bay until the cops get there, because he did what nobody else was willing to do, and that was kind of the point we were making up in Boulder. While people were filming, you could have rallied 3 or 4 guys together and bum rushed that guy from different angles and taken him down. And in this particular case, it was one guy with, a good guy with a gun, and he's going to get a little bit of press time when he should get a lot. And hopefully they'll interview him and he can tell us his reasons and his logic and what he saw. And that's the other thing from the camera angle. What a lot of people don't realize. I'll go back to the thing when the president was. I don't remember if he had already won and he was doing speeches or he was campaigning at the time, but there was a thing where Musk walked off the stage and he had his little boy with him, and they'd been up on the stage together with Trump, and the news media says Musk abandons his child and walks away from and this kid, I think he was like 4. He's a tiny little kid. And it's great film clip because they replayed it over and over and over. And it looks like Musk just, on camera, it looks like he just left his kid standing there in a group of people and walked away. Except for when you see the next camera angle out, Musk is like 5.5 feet away the entire time calling him. And he's looking right at him. He's like, hey, come here. So vantage point on camera angles, I'm only seeing what you can see in that parking lot. There could have been other things that we don't see, that we don't know, is the point to that kind of stuff. So I just chuckled on the Musk thing because the news media jumped all over it. And then as soon as somebody put that extra video out, man, that just silenced all the critics, immediately. So there could have been something that this guy was seeing that we couldn't see. But to your point, he had already injured, blood was shed, the guy had a knife in his hand, multiple people in proximity. It's absolutely a justifiable stop to the threat.
Yeah. And I mean, there was quite a few people, even in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of people backing this guy up, just, helping him with the verbal exchange, trying to de-escalate, trying to get the guy to throw the knife away. So there could be that part too, or maybe he was just very concerned about making a shot and something going wrong as far as maybe the bullet penetrating, going through. Of course, you got to make sure. From the video that I saw, it looked like, from the only angle that I've seen, which I don't know if there is any other angle, but the only angle that I've seen, it looked like that there was some pretty clear shots that could have been taken. But then again, I mean, you've got lots of different people with different approaches and different ideas, and you could be very right. This guy very well could have just been in a position where he's like, okay, if I can just stop him, I want to stop him. If he's going to hurt anybody else, then I'm going to have to do what I have to do. But I really don't want to have to kill anybody today if I don't have to.
Yeah. Because that's on his conscience. And again, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. There were people in there like, shoot him in the leg. Just to be clear, you see this in the movies a lot. So there'll be a bad guy, shoots somebody, kills him, and the cop comes around the corner and tells him to drop the gun. At no time does the cop need to come around the corner and tell him to drop the gun. Once that threat has been initiated, knowingly, willingly, intentionally, the trigger has been pulled or the knife has been pulled and blood has been shed, you don't have to give an ultimatum. And you see that a lot. Movies play that out a lot. And we saw that when in this video, the people are like, just drop the knife, just drop the knife. He absolutely didn't have to say anything. There was just a lot of people that kind of came in quick, and that could have confused the situation as well. When my bad guy's always Oliver Shagnasty. So if the guy with the knife is getting redirected by multiple people yelling at him to do different things, the guy with the gun may have gotten overtalked. Who knows? There could have been just a lot of distraction going on. When we try to contain a scene, we always try to have a one-on-one interaction with whoever we're dealing with, even though we might have 2, 3, 4, 5 people cop-wise there. You don't have a bunch of people yelling, because what ends up happening is it becomes a distractor. So and I've seen scenes like this with law enforcement. It drives me nuts. It's chaotic. They'll get up on scene, and one of the first things you hear is, "Show me your hands." We made a point of always saying, "Show me." If you're ever going to say, "Show me your hands," it's always, "Show me your empty hands." Don't show me your hands, because if you say, "Show me your hands," you got a weapon in your hand. You come up, now all of a sudden we got a problem. But I've been on scenes multiple times at the end of like car chases. It happens a lot. A guy jumps out of a car, and you hear one guy say, "Show me your hands." You'll hear somebody else go, "Get on the ground," and then you'll hear somebody else say, "Stop." And I mean, it's like Red Rover, come on over, and you're barking orders at this guy, as opposed to just one guy taking command of the scene. So citizens typically aren't trained that way. Cops are. They don't always fall back on it. They get a little amped up in the moment. I hate seeing that kind of stuff. But just to be clear, once it's been done and the action has been carried out and deadly force was there,
Weapons hot, range is hot.
You ain't got to say nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no drop the gun at that point in time.
Yeah. Well, it was an interesting exchange to be able to see recorded and kind of take notes from and think about what could have been done different, what would have probably been done different from a lot of other guys. And even an active law enforcement officer on scene probably would have just taken him out.
Yeah.
But I know that you're right about the voice, because there was many voices in the video. There was lots of people just yelling, "Drop the knife, throw it away," and you could hear that they were different people. You could see it on the video. So I think that very much so the guy with the gun didn't have the loudest voice, but he seemed like he was pretty intently focused and trained on the guy with the knife. But what I had been nervous about, and we talk about this and we have trained this here in a lot of your classes, is the people around you at that point, who to trust, who's okay. You have to be super, super careful. He was close quarters with a lot of people that I would imagine are just strangers. And I'm not saying that, everybody's bad, but at the same time, you don't want to just assume that somebody is not going to come out and see the situation and think that you're in the wrong,
right,
as you've pointed out in your classes before. So as I see this guy holding the gun and I see all these other people like around him in such close proximity, I'm just thinking, man, this could be a recipe for a disaster.
Oh, yeah.
Holding your gun out. And he was kind of tilted with it a little bit. And I know that he was having to move a little bit, but he was in a situation where the people around him, it could have gone pretty wrong, pretty bad.
Yeah.
And there could have been people come out and be like, "Oh, this is the bad guy. He's got a gun," trying to take the gun from him, or just people that might have even been with the attacker that you don't know, And from what I understand, this guy was solo. But in the moment, in the heat of the moment, that's got to be so many things that you're focusing on and prepared for, ready for, because you don't know.
Right.
The threats in front of you is the guy with the knife, sure. But then you have all these other people that are amped up around you, screaming and yelling, and you've drawn your weapon and you've got to train on the guy with the knife. Man, that's a hard call to just hold him at gunpoint and just think that that's going to get you. Thankfully, it worked out the way that it did, but that's a hard call for me. I'm thinking, if I'm going to have all these people around me yelling and screaming, it's kind of like, man, I need to kind of do what I need to do and then put my gun back away and keep that safe.
Yeah, command presence is so important, and we train people to this kind of stuff. It is hard. We're looking at a video of a dude in a parking lot with multiple people around in broad daylight. One of the examples I use all the time, and this is whenever a cop is involved in a questionable shooting. No, I say questionable. I mean one of those things where, let's say it's somebody who the cop thought was armed. It ends up being a toy gun. This has happened numerous times across the U.S. So all of the keyboard warriors come out and all the naysayers come out and, fire this and hang them and do all the things you got to do and defund the cops and they should know better. They should be trained. I can tell you right now, and this is the stuff that just drives me nuts. And in teaching this stuff, when I look at it and I think about it, we got a lot of people out there that have zero experience in any way, shape, or form with tons of opinion, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled, I guess, to their opinion. But when you start throwing things out and you don't understand context of what you're talking about, and there's a lot of things that I don't understand context about, so I just shut up and I stay in my lane and I don't speak. I just sit back and let the experts handle it. But when it comes to people that are questioning a deal where you have somebody who shot, and in this case, I used the example of the toy gun. At nighttime, guy comes around the corner. You have half a second. You see him pull, come up on you, and there's people out there that think that you can actually distinguish a black toy gun that's a replica gun made to look like a gun from a real gun. And then that guy gets smoked, and the cops told him, drop the gun, and the guy doesn't drop it, and the cop assumes I'm about to die, so I'm defending myself. And people think law enforcement doesn't have a right to defend themselves. So you're defending yourself, you're defending the public, you're defending everybody that's innocent. I bring that situation up because those things get scrutinized in a court of law over weeks and months, and they scrutinize the body cam, and they'll look at that 1 second decision, and they just eviscerate it. They go in because you can armchair quarterback for as long as you want after the incident is over. Now, by comparison, go to like an NFL game and you got the wide receiver and there's a big ball throw or Hail Mary ball thrown downfield, and the receiver extends one hand out, catches the ball, comes down, but were his toes, both of his feet inbound, both of his toes inbounds. And then they stop the play and they go back and they review it, and then they review it from 12 different angles. And there's 70,000 people in the stadium watching the review or the replay up on the big screen, and everybody knows what the call is going to be, but it takes like 5-6 minutes, and they review it because it's so questionable. And you see the slow motion thing of where his toe comes down. Does it touch the white paint or does it touch the green grass? And it's so close. Millions of people sitting at home going, it was in bounds, it's a touchdown, and everybody knows. But when you're the guy, and you could be a civilian in this case or a cop in this case, you turn the corner and there's somebody pointing a gun at you at night in the dark, and you have half a second to make up your mind. You don't get 14 different angles with 70,000 other people sitting next to you to review it. You got to make a decision in a second. And it's cases like that that are very, very difficult because the world sees that and thinks you should know. I can't tell you how many people I have put through training, and I put my hand in a pocket, and we're in a quasi-dark environment, and we're going through training, and I say, you got to make a decision, shoot, no shoot with sim rounds. And I come out with a cell phone, or I come out with a ballpoint pen, or I come out with a pad of paper, or I come out with anything but a gun, and I get shot. And I get shot. And I get shot. And I get shot. And then we go back and we review it, and we go, what did you see? And they say, I saw you move your hand, and I thought I thought something bad was about to happen to me. Now, put that into real life, real scenario, real response time, man with a gun, 911 calls being made, cop comes around the corner, bad guy comes around the corner, half second to make a decision.
Yeah.
And people just don't understand that. They think, well, how did you not know that wasn't a BB gun or a toy?
Man, have you seen toy guns these days?
They're unbelievable.
They've come a long way. We use them in JWI.
In training, yeah.
We just had one out yesterday whenever a couple of the competitors were asking if they could see it and shoot it and see how it works, see how it feels in the hand. And these things not only look real, but they operate as if they were real. I mean, you pull the trigger, the slide kicks back, a casing kicks out. Yeah, it's a highly visible orange little plastic bullet that shoots out. But, I mean, if you are looking at this from any reasonable distance, it looks like that a gun was just fired. The only thing that's missing is the noise, but a casing's getting kicked out.
Yep.
These guns look real. It can obviously be very difficult to tell. Is this a real gun? Is this not a real gun? And you really want to gamble your life or the life of other people on not knowing? Because if you've given the command, put the gun down, and they don't, whether it's a toy or not, at that point, doesn't really matter. You did what you there needs to be a lot more responsibility in telling people, all right, you don't mess with this. You don't mess with, if it's a toy gun, you don't joke around with a toy gun.
Have you seen the new Rage? That's the Facebook challenge, the door kick challenge?
No, what's this?
So this is teenagers being prompted to go up and kick somebody's door and stand outside with a fake gun and see the reaction of the person.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Being dead serious right now.
Could not be more serious. You can Google it, pull it up.
Man,
It's called the door kick challenge.
the door kick challenge.
Yeah. There are people that are going to get smoked doing this because somebody's not going to walk outside. They're just going to shoot them through the door, or through the window, or whatever. And I saw a video the other day. The kid's wearing a hoodie. When I say a kid, I'm talking a 20-year-old. So let me be clear. This was an adult. Wearing a hoodie, carrying a fake gun, standing on a porch on a Ring camera. And I can tell you right now, you couldn't tell that it was a fake gun, and you couldn't tell that that guy's intent was, I'm playing a game on a Facebook challenge. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we're experiencing in this country right now. And it's just,
that is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard.
Somebody
This
comes
and
worse
does
than
that
Tide
at my
Pod.
house, they're going to get shot.
Yeah, this is worse than the Tide Pod.
I'm just telling. Colorado, thankfully, we've got this thing in Colorado, and a lot of the gun guys and a lot of the tactics guy call it the make my day law. We still have this in effect right now.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
It's stand your
at least
ground.
for the time being. Somebody comes and there's a reasonable threat on your property, you have every right, and you're going to have pretty much the benefit of the doubt whenever it comes to actually being in the courtroom and you are defending yourself and your family. Somebody comes and does the door kick challenge in on your house in Colorado, you can take them out. You can shoot them in the face, and you're probably
if you perceive deadly
perceive
force
deadly
and that your
force.
life was in danger. And this is the way when people ask me, what happens if I walk into the house and there's somebody robbing my house? Like I come home from dinner or whatever with my family, and I walk in and I go, well, the simplest example I can give you, let's say the guy's got a TV in his hand and he goes running out the front door. You guys have entered, he goes running out the front door, and you follow him and you run out behind him and you shoot him in the back, and he's running with the TV. You're probably going to go to jail for an extended period of time for shooting that guy or for a homicide. Same guy standing in your house holding the TV. You come around the corner, he's standing there, he drops the TV, pulls a weapon on you.
Yeah.
Done. You come around the corner and the guy's holding the TV and he throws the TV at you. Now you're in a situation where he's using the TV as a weapon.
Right.
Okay. Two totally different things. The guy running away with the TV, let him have the TV. I tell people all the time, TVs are the only thing in society that are going down in price. I'm going seriously. It's people say every time I say that, people laugh at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, dude, have you priced TVs?
No, it's the truth.
It's the only thing going down. Why? Because you're being fed crap through this thing. And it's the one thing that they can market. You can go buy an 80-inch TV right now. I looked at one yesterday at Sam's Club. I'm going in there to pick up water. It was on sale for $799.
So frustrating.
An
'Cause when I
80-inch
bought an
TV.
80-inch TV, whenever I bought an 80-inch TV in like 2020, it was maybe 2019. I don't remember, but it was either 2019 or 2020. I bought a 80-inch, it was like an 83-inch Samsung TV. It was probably over $2,000.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, they're all going down in cost, and we laugh about it. But the truth of the matter is, let the guy have the TV. If he's running out of the house with the TV and he's not threatening you,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, did he burglar you? Yeah. Is it a felony? Absolutely. The chance, he's probably got Born to Lose tattooed on his forehead, by the way, because anybody that goes in and kicks somebody's front door in to go steal a TV, when you can just go over to Sam's Club and back the truck up and get it, just makes no sense to me. I'm not advocating for either one, by the way, but there's a big difference when it comes to your abode, your home, this is your safe haven. You don't expect to walk in and have Oliver Shagnasty standing on the other side of the door, and if he is, it's game on. It's go time, right? But there is a legitimate difference if the dude runs out the door and he's not threatening you and he's not touched you and he's not harming you. Yeah, he came into your house. Let him go. Call the cops. Pull up your cameras if you got them. Knock on your neighbors' doors. Get their Ring stuff. The guy's going to get caught. Those guys almost always get caught. It's when you turn the corner and there's the threat, and it becomes very real very quick in half a second, because they're caught. They know it, and they're gonna I'm not going to jail. Well, now you're in a deadly force situation,
Right.
potentially, and again, there has to be a viable threat, and your life has to be in. We always say knowingly, willingly, and intentionally in our classes because it's written into Colorado state law. They knowingly came in, they willingly came in, and they intentionally came in. And then they knowingly, willingly, and intentionally attacked you. You have a right to defend yourself to the death. So I'm not sitting here advocating for people to defend to
for
the
your
death.
life.
But if a dude walks up to my front door and starts kicking the front door and I look out and he's got a gun,
Yeah. I would say that would put me in a situation where I'm in fear for not only my life, but I'm in fear for my family's
That's
life.
right.
I'm in fear for my dog's life. I'm in fear for my property's life.
My
that one
neighbor.
doesn't count. Fear for life. The
Neighbors.
threat has to be taken out at that
Yeah.
point. Then you have the ability to eliminate the threat. The threat that is putting you in fear for your life. And that's what I was talking about whenever I said, make my day long. And I said this
did you find
door kick challenge. I think I did. Does that look right? I don't know. I didn't want to click on it until you looked at it.
I don't know. There's so many that are,
Well, I'll
there's
just click on that
so
one.
many videos that are out there right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
This looks like, man.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So you're coming up, you got a gun in your hand, you got a mask on, this guy's dressed, he's kicking, he's acting like he's firing.
Yeah. Did you see the gun in his hand?
Yeah.
And so these are just fake guns that they're.
I don't know if they're all fake or not. I'm just telling you that this is the challenge. I've reviewed like.
Look at how many Ring cameras. Did you see that? The screen was full of people doing this door kick challenge.
So this started, I believe, and people can call me to task, and I believe it started in Florida, which is very odd. It's a very odd state to start in because you got a governor that essentially says, you do stupid stuff here, bad things are going to happen to you.
Yeah.
You got Grady Judd, you got other sheriffs down there that are like, we will absolutely smoke you. You got a sheriff down there that during there was a shooting of a cop. It was I believe it was an armed robbery shooting of a cop, and they got this guy, finally got him pinned down into a corner. He opened fire on him, and they shot him. I don't know. You can pull up the video. It's a Grady Judd video, but they said, did you need to shoot him? So it was like 69 times. Did you need to shoot this guy 69 times? Or, oh, no, I know why. Why did you shoot this guy 69 times? And his response was, because we ran out of bullets. And they went, what? And he goes, yeah, because evil can never be dead enough. So when you shoot a cop, we're going to shoot you back. And in this particular case, they shot a cop. There was a car chase. He came out and opened fire on him. And they just finished everything they had.
Yeah.
And they said, isn't that overkill? And he said, on whose watch? You know, that's the kind of law enforcement response that we need. Because when you have people that are going out executing people, it's evil. You're stopping evil. And in this particular case, this is just pure stupidity. This is a bunch of 15-year-olds think they're doing something funny, and every sheriff in America right now is going, look, you're going to get smoked through the door. This knife attack that happened in Michigan was bad enough, right? I mean, you've got 11 people in broad daylight that got attacked, and this is what we started with, and we hope that somebody would come in and stop that threat. The Molotov cocktail thing up in Boulder. This is dumb on an epic level, because this isn't some guy just walking up and pulling out a knife. This is blind, intentional, again, knowing the willing intention, blind stupidity, because the end result you can't see coming at you, but you can almost bank on what it's going to be. And if I'm a parent at home right now and I'm listening to this podcast or I'm seeing this, I'd be sitting my kids down and go, look, here's the deal. Here's what's going to happen. You need to understand that. Show me your friends, show me your future. If one of your buddies says, hey, we're going to go do this, the first thing you do is you come home and you tell me. And then I'm going to go over to that parent's house and I'm going to sit down with that other parent and say, hey, your kid's trying to rope my kid in to going out. They're going to get smoked. And they're not getting smoked a little bit. They're going to get smoked a lot, because there are people that are going to fear for their life. And here's the thing. And I get amped up on this stuff a little bit internally. One, because of my past, my career, things I had to deal with. Look, guys, there's nothing worse than rolling up on scene with a dead kid. And I don't care what the circumstance is. I don't care if it's a car crash. I don't care if it's a hanging. It doesn't matter. It's hard on law enforcement and fire and EMS when they roll up and it's a kid. And here's where I saw it the most was drive-by gangbang shootings. We had multiple in an area where I worked. And I was only in Columbus, South Carolina for just 6 years. Dude, the amount of shootings that we had, gang-related shootings and deaths in the 6 years that I was there in the greater Columbia, Richland County area, it's off the chart. The chart. And there's just nothing worse, man. There's nothing worse. And then you see the funeral and, the write-up in the paper, and he was a great kid and he was wonderful. No, he was involved in stuff he shouldn't have been in. Or he got caught up in something he shouldn't have been in. It doesn't change the fact that it was a kid. And it's hard. It's hard on public safety when you're the one rolling up on the scene and you got to deal with that. And you got to detain the crowd and you got to keep mom back, and here she comes. And I mean, this is bad stuff. This right here incites that. This isn't even gang violence. This is just stupidity. But that's where we're at.
It's crazy to see.
We're attention starved.
That we've got clearly tons of traction, because here we are just looking on YouTube. You've got these videos that are just reporting on these door kick challenges, and they've got hundreds of thousands of views.
Yep.
And they're just reporting on the door kick challenge. But
they're-
apparently it says that it was a TikTok challenge, so it's probably made its way through to Facebook. But here's the thing. At what point did the ding dong ditch become so boring that you had to get a gun and you had to start kicking on people's doors? You're absolutely right. Kids out there need to know that, then parents is getting them weigh heavily on your shoulders to make sure that your kids know this door kick challenge, people are going to die.
Yeah.
Kids are going to die. And imagine being that kid who was with your group of friends and you're watching your group of friends go out and kick on a door and you just happen to see that your friend gets shot.
Yeah.
And you have to live with that the rest of your life. You have to carry that weight knowing that we were just trying to have some fun, but we were being stupid. We carried a whether it's a toy gun, real gun, it doesn't matter. You carry something that looks like a weapon on somebody's property. You kick on their door.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing that's there's nothing good about this, but the only thing that is just super stupid is that's all they're doing is ding dong ditching. They're kicking and then they run. So I could see how if they kick and then they run, maybe there's an argument for, well, they're just running away. They're not going to get shot. Well, I don't know, man. Is there somebody who sees you even just walk up? Maybe you're catching the wrong house at the wrong time, or the exact right time, where somebody's watching, somebody's looking out their window or their door, and they see you even step foot onto their property, and you're carrying what looks like a weapon. And then as soon as you make contact, they're ready to open the door and do what they feel like they need to do to protect themselves and eliminate the threat. This is bad all the way around, man. I can't believe that this is actually a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing, and it's amped up. It's gotten there's tens of millions of views, for the end users that are doing this stuff, filming it. It's all about views. It's about getting paid, right? And so,
did you see how fast the door opened on that one?
Yeah.
As soon as they kicked it, they opened that door.
And
It looks like they're being maybe talked. Is that a law enforcement officer?
There's a lot of them that have been arrested. A lot of them that have been arrested now. And then, of course, they're like, well, we were just messing around. Well, okay, here you go. So I hate to say it. We've evolved. I said this on a previous podcast. I said I think cell phones will be the downfall of mankind. I do. I made the comment about, somebody said that porn is the most addictive thing. I think it's social media and cell phones. I really do. I hate to say it, but I really genuinely believe that people are so attention starved. They're so me. They're so, I don't want to go out and get a job. I don't want to work. I just want attention. And the more I can showcase and the more I can do, the more I'm going to get followed. Hey, look at me. Jake and Logan Paul, great examples, right? I mean, when they first started off, they were doing all sorts of weird, wacky, goofy stuff. And the next thing you know, they started getting a following, and then they really started getting a following. And then after that, I mean, they moved. If you follow their story at all, it's actually semi-fascinating. They're out of the house by 16, 17? Moved to L.A., bought a house, moved a bunch of dudes into the house, started doing crazy stuff in the house, drove the neighbors nuts. The next thing you know, and they just keep go. Now Jake Paul's fought, 12 different famous people, to include Tyson. He's making tens of millions of dollars. Well, what do you think people see when they see this? And look, they went about it a little bit different. They didn't go out kicking people's doors with weapons, but they did some pretty dumb stuff back in the day, and it got a lot of attention. And Logan, filming the dead body, that went too far. But again, my whole point to this is people are just attention starved, and you got people sitting at home. I watched a video the other day. And I'm including myself in this. I watch reaction videos all the time, but I watched a reaction video of a dude watching a reaction video, and I'm reacting to the dude watching the reaction to the reaction to the video, right? This is
reactception.
Yeah, we've gotten so, I don't know. It's almost hard to put into context. So there's another thing that is going on here locally. I don't know if you've heard of this, is the street bike challenge. So out here on I-25, up to 225 over into Aurora. It's just a raceway on Saturday night. And the challenge now is how fast can you ride in chicane cars on the freeway? Well, their videos are popping up all over the place. So what they do is they're coming down into Castle Rock, down here. Mm-hmm. It starts down here. and they know that there's a no pursuit policy on motorcycles through almost every jurisdiction. Now, Doug Coe will probably chase. I'd love to ask the sheriff this, actually, when he's going to come on the show here in September. I'd love to ask him what his policy is. But motorcycles, the reason motorcycles are a little bit different in chases is, one, because they're so fast and they're so blindingly dangerous. So I saw one the other night. My wife and I are going north. We're going to dinner, and this is 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. We're coming back. We're running 470 back to 25, and it's two guys street racing in cars on 470, using every lane shouldered that you could possibly imagine. And they're cutting between cars at a rate of, when they cut in front of me, I mean, the wind moved my car, and I thought they hit the car. Inches. Yeah. They're going 130, 140 mile an hour in cars.
Yeah.
Motorcycles, they're going $190 on I-25. And they're out here and they're lining up. And what they do is they get one person will go back and forth on the freeway to slow traffic down. And then they get a group of them up in front, and then they take off. And they see how fast they can go all the way up to Lincoln or up to 225 to Aurora. So this street bike challenge now is become so dangerous here locally. And it seems like everybody's either their hands are tied or they don't know what to do with it, or I don't know. I really want to ask the sheriff, because it's one of these things that's just so incredibly dangerous. But
street bike challenge. They've blown past me on the highway. They have definitely blown past me on the highway a couple of times. And yeah, those guys are cooking, man. They will just zip past, and you can hardly even see them. If you blink, you kind of miss.
Yeah. They're running up and down Founders here locally. For people not around here, it's a 3-lane road that goes in 2 different directions, and it's heavily congested, and they're doing it out here. So it's we just have a lot of people that are very attention starved. They're doing it in groups. They're running fake plates on the bike, or they're blanking out the plates on the bike. So catching these guys is very, very, very challenging. It's really hard. And the equipment law enforcement uses is not designed to go out and run down a 400-pound bike that's got 140 horsepower in it that can go 190 miles an hour. So you end up just letting them go and hope for the best kind of deal. The problem is now they're running in groups, and you're seeing these guys, and they're running 100, 200 bikes deep. Downtown Denver just had an event a couple weeks ago where they just shut down Colfax Avenue. There was like 4,000, I think was the number, riders.
Yeah.
And some of these guys are armed, and they're doing snatch and grabs. And I mean, there's just a lot of stuff happening right now out there. And the average everyday Joe, how do you contend with it?
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. One-on-one, it's one thing. And, I'll read these comments, and I was watching a reaction video of some of these guys doing this stuff. And the one guy's like, well, I just use my truck and run them all over. Well, dude, first of all, is your life in danger? Number two, you're just going to run people over, just kill them for the sake of, but people are so frustrated, they're stuck. And they had interviewed one guy that I was watching recently, and he was like, look, man, he goes, for like an hour. He goes, we couldn't move on the freeway. The cops weren't doing anything. And these guys were just driving in circles on the freeway. They literally just shut down traffic. And I think this was in LA. And one guy finally got frustrated and went through the middle of them. And as soon as he went through the middle of them, everything opened up, and, people went different directions. But
there's definitely some goons out there doing some pretty risky stuff. I mean, on one hand, you can't say, well, yeah, if you're driving that way, then you are pretty much being on one level a threat to society. On a motorcycle, the biggest threat is to yourself. If you hit most cars on the road, it's not going to do a whole lot to the car. It's probably going to kill you more than anything. But, I mean, I wasn't able to find any videos when I just searched street bike challenge, but I happen to know a couple of channels, because I used to have a street bike, and I sold my street bike. I should not have had a street bike. I probably wasn't too far off from becoming one of those goons myself, so I sold it, thankfully. And I am doing my best to make smart and safe decisions. So I don't have a street bike any longer, but I used to follow this guy's channel. There was Max Rist, and there's another guy. I think he did a jaunt through Colorado Springs. He was a really famous online, like, internet motorcycle guy, and he would film himself just zipping through traffic. And I forgot what name he went by, but he was like very discreet. Like he always had a helmet on. He didn't. I forget his name. I'll have to remember his name maybe on another episode. But Max Wrist was one that I watched quite a bit on YouTube, and he would do some pretty crazy stuff with guys. And looks like that this is just on a track.
Pull up street takeovers, motorcycle street takeovers.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about on those.
So I said street bike challenge. It's actually street takeovers is what it's called. That was my bad. I said it wrong. And these things are infuriating to watch, especially live, because they don't care. And at the end of the day, what they're doing is super crazy dangerous. And like you can see this street takeover here. This is people.
Sometimes it's with cars, right?
Yep, it's cars, people. Sometimes it's bikes. But the latest one that I've been seeing is ATVs and dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Because they can run off road.
Those have been in Denver a couple of times.
Well, they were literally just a month ago on Colfax. I'm saying like when I say 4,000, that was the count. Yeah. And they were all dirt bikes and street bikes.
There you go, right here. Look at this. Look at all these goons.
Yep.
Man, just four-wheelers, dirt bikes, just everything.
And the thing is they can run because they can go off-road. So who's going to chase them? Right. And people when you read the comments, people are like, why don't they just arrest people? I mean, it is so incredibly hard to go in and stop a crowd of 1,000 people. People don't understand what it takes to. You're going to get one or two. But then we've got a court system that also just cuts these guys loose too. And that's a big problem right now.
I mean, look at that. Look at those. They're on the highway. They're just wheeling.
And they're doing it at like 25, 30 mile an hour. So they're just shutting down major thoroughfares. And so you get one guy that finally gets irritated enough and he comes through in the video, a couple of the videos that I've seen, guy comes through like in a pickup truck and he'll bump one of them. Well, they just go into road rage testosterone at that point in time. They just all jumped the guy in the truck or followed the truck. And now the guy's got to defend himself for the very thing that he went up and tried to get through in the first place. So, yeah, there's a lot of this happening.
Man. Yeah, and I mean, there's some people out there, and a lot of these people in that crowd would probably be like, well, we're not hurting anybody. It's like, well, but you're also setting an example to where if we're not going to follow the law, then there's a fine line that continues to be broken between there because...
Well, it's boundary probing. We've talked about this before. It's if I can do this, then I can do this. And then when you watch the comments, there'll be people like, well, they're innocent. It's a different way that kids are having fun nowadays. I guess. I don't know. I love, so let me be clear. Everything they're doing right now, super impressive as far as the wheelies. Just go out on a back country trail. Go have, but this is about making a statement. It's not about showcasing talent because there's plenty of talent in here. I mean, I grew up racing. You ride, we rode together. We went out, we tore up Rampart Range or the back end of Rainbow Falls that day, 65, 70 mile an hour, taking flight. It's fun. Yeah. Like I have no problem with the riding. I have no problem with the skill sets. I have no problem doing it in an environment that is what it's made for. But when you come out and you disrupt, and here's where my head goes on this. So if you've seen some of these aerial views of these things where you've got 200, 300, 400, 500 in down in Denver, 4,000, you couldn't get emergency services through. So when you had legitimate problems, now all of a sudden an ambulance can't go somewhere. If firefighters can't get, so are we charging a group of people that we can't identify? No, we're not, because we can't identify them. And even if you catch them, what are you charging them with? And then you gotta go back and prove, well, the firefighter couldn't get to the car crash and the person died, and now you got attorneys involved. I mean, it's just the spin-off and the byproduct of how far this rolls downhill is almost immeasurable, because it looks like, it's no big deal. It's just a bunch of dudes out on the roadway. But when you start measuring it with the 80-year-old who's having a heart attack waiting for the ambulance to get there, now you got to be able to think about all the variables there, because you got a lot of vehicles that are not really capable of highway speeds, and you got so many people that are just clustered together that they're gonna
cause some serious problems, traffic jams on the highway whenever they're all just clustered together and
they
clogging
do,
up the highway.
and then they come into a place like this, and they just take over a gas station, which then they lose business, and they're stealing from them. I mean, it keeps going and going and going and going, and what looks like to some people harmless fun has turned into that boundary probe that I talk about. And I know there's people that will listen to me and say, "Oh, you're a jerk. You're an old crusty curmudgeon." No, this is just common sense. If this was in the middle of a field, nobody would care.
Oh yeah.
If this was in the back
Coolest
country,
thing ever.
nobody would care. You put it in the middle of a parking lot and you go in, and I saw an interview with one of the ladies that was working in a convenience store. She says they came in and just took everything they wanted and walked out. She goes, I called the cops, nobody came.
Wow.
And it's happening over and over and over. And they know that they're not going to get prosecuted. That's why they're doing it.
I know that in Denver, from what I understand, what I've heard in Denver, there's a no pursuit law, even like for cars, right?
Unless it's got to be like an active, I don't know their law. I got a bunch of Denver buddies I'll ask, but I think it's got to be like an active felony, life danger situation, like somebody shooting or so I don't believe they pursue like for stolen vehicles unless it's being used in the commission of a crime.
Yeah.
Beyond just the stolen vehicle kind of thing. As to where Douglas County, they'll chase you here. We have a sheriff that actually enforces law, and we have a DA in George Brockler who actually prosecutes people. The problem is with all the cyber now and all the AI, and man, you just have so much case time spent and different things. But things like this is a no-brainer. I mean, look at that.
Dude, that is hundreds of people, if not close to 1,000 people on ATVs, dirt bikes, quads, and they're just
shutting it down on purpose.
in the middle of a intersection here.
And you get some guy in a Dodge Dually diesel who just goes 11 kinds of ticked off all of a sudden, goes full on Michael Douglas and falling down and goes through the middle of the crowd. He's going to go to jail for the rest of his life, right? Because you got to establish that it was a threat. Now, here's the thing. If you go back to the New York incident, and this has got to be bordering on 10 years ago, there was I believe it was an Asian family in a Range Rover, and there was a bunch of dudes on street bikes surrounded them, and they started hitting the car while they were driving down the street, pinned him in, and the dude just throttled it. And I want to say he killed 2 or 3, paralyzed 2 or 3, ran for his life. They ran him down. They eventually broke the windows of the vehicle. This is in the middle of downtown New York. They catch this family in this Range Rover after they had pinned him in, and I don't know what their intent was to kill him or to take the vehicle, but he was terrified, so he ran over the top of him. They chase him down like 9 miles later. They catch him. They drag him out of the vehicle. They start beating him to death. A bunch of people jumped in and stopped it. It turned out that there were 2 undercover cops in the motorcycle gang that were working this motorcycle gang. They were trying to bust them like on distribution. And when this thing unfolded, the cops didn't do anything. Those 2 cops got charged with felonies for not defending the citizen. And the citizen didn't get charged with anything, and he took out 7, 8 riders. Like with his range, like when I say drove over the top of him, I'm like, dude, he went 4-wheeling over the top of him. And it's on video. Like you can pull it up.
On video 10 years ago, huh? What would this have been called?
I don't know. The Asian family in Range Rover runs over motorcycle. I don't know.
All right, we'll start with
they had
New York.
They had helmet cams. They had outside footage from there was multiple angles of this event that took place, and it was in broad daylight. It started on the freeway, went to a surface road, and then ended up in New York.
We don't have a Jamie, by the way, so I'm literally typing this in, pulling a video up myself.
So while you're searching this, one of the things we do when we train tactics is we always talk about you have to be in fear for your life or the life of another, and before you can use any kind of deadly force situation. There you go, right in the middle.
Man.
Now, I have not watched this particular version of the video. This is obviously a helmet cam, but you can see the Range Rover in the middle. And I don't remember if they get them stopped on this road or they get them stopped on the freeway. Yeah, this looks like this is it. I do remember this because I remember
New
there's
York
a wall.
plates. Oh yeah, look at that. Look, just tapped him. Looked like he just slowed down so much that he just tapped the front of the Range Rover with his bike. Look. Man.
So he's well back in the crowd.
Yeah, and they let the other guy pass.
And they're hitting at this point in time. There's a different angle of this where they're trying to break the glass, with their helmets.
Oh, there he goes. Man, you are right. Four-wheeling over these bikers.
Yeah, he smoked a couple of them. And then they end up running this dude down. I want to say this goes for several miles before he gets pinned into traffic. Basically, he has nowhere to go, and he ends up in like the downtown area. They chase this dude through all sorts of downtown New York, and they finally get him pinned in and drag him out of the vehicle.
Man,
I mean, it's brutal. And people are like, well, and here's the legit. So you and I are car guys and bike guys. People are like, why don't you just run them over?
broke the window
Why don't they
right
just
there.
run them over with the vehicle? You know what it's like to try to drive over a motorcycle with a Range Rover?
I'm very surprised that the Range Rover didn't high center.
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, like, people are like, you don't plow through it.
Man.
You go up and over. I mean, that bike, think of it like a speed bump on the road, right? Like, you're driving over a speed bump. You don't plow through a speed bump. Well, you don't plow through 20 bikes. You're driving over the top of them. And that Range Rover's all-wheel drive. I think that was the only thing that kept him going. Because he went airborne over the top of them.
I saw that.
It's crazy. I mean, it's just, and what's crazy is
I can't watch the video of them pulling out. I got to sign into YouTube. That'll probably be a smart thing to do for future episodes. But I got to sign in because it literally won't let me watch the video of them pulling him out of the Range Rover.
Oh, it's brutal.
And beating the guy up.
Yeah,
But,
it's
man,
brutal. And it's one of those, well, I got a gun. Well, how many rounds do you have?
Yeah.
You know, you had 400 bikers. Like, what are you going to do? You're just going to run over all of them? I mean, sooner or later, your airbags are going to go off and your vehicle is going to be disabled. I'm surprised it didn't right out of the gate. In today's technology, it takes 7 miles an hour to bump somebody and your airbag goes off.
I mean, that's a pretty good, as bad as it sounds, that's a pretty good commercial for Range Rover.
It's a great commercial.
I'm very surprised that it was capable of actually running over bikes and continuing to drive
that's
miles
why
and miles.
Overseas, we up armored them and use them for
Yeah.
private executive protection because they're great.
Man.
But no, it's crazy to watch this stuff and people are like, oh, I can't believe it's happening. Oh, it happens. It happens all the time. This guy he was placed into a position of fear for his life. And by the way, he had his family in the car. This wasn't just a dude.
Oh, yeah. Had his whole family in his car?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. He was like, imagine you're driving imagine you, Jared, black belt in jiu-jitsu, armed, 3/4 ton Dodge truck. Best case scenario for zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Jared can handle it.
Power wagon.
And 50 bikes pull up next to you, and they're not doing anything, and Jared's sitting at the light. And then you start to get on the roadway, and then they get over in front of you, and they surround you, and they start boxing you in and slowing you down. They haven't done anything yet, but they're kind of trapping you. They're making you feel nervous, feeling a little awkward. Maybe your hand goes under your pistol, and you're like, what's going on? And the next thing you know, you come to a dead stop, and they come up and start hitting your truck. What's your reaction? You got 50 people. And people are like, well, it's harder than you think. It's harder than you think. And people, I don't understand. Why don't you just do this? Well, here's why.
Well, for me, I would have to be in fear for my life. So if they're just hitting my truck, maybe that's not the same level of, actually, if they've got a weapon. The thing is if it's multiple attackers, that also changes things as well.
And they're using their helmets as weapons.
Using helmets as weapons, using their bike as weapons, whatever it might be. Because the video, whenever I saw one of the bikes slowed down until like the bike basically jammed the rear of the bike into the Range Rover. That's like when it kind of seems like it might have first kind of started, but it was clearly the biker who slowed down.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Range Rover tapped that bike. But that's gonna happen. You get right in front of somebody and just slam your brakes. I mean, he was so close in front of the Range Rover, you wouldn't have even been able to see the taillights It's literally sitting right in front of the grill,
Yeah.
and then he starts slowing down. Of course, you're going to get a little tap from the car
Well,
behind
and
you.
there was 5 of them too. So one of them did it, but there's 4 more that
Oh, yeah.
also.
Surrounding.
So when we were talking about the guy with the knife,
Which I've got
attack.
the video pulled up here. I got the video pulled up here so that we can just kind of break it down and kind of bring this back to what the
Perfect.
original intent of the topic was before we close out this episode. But to answer your question first before we dissect this, because, I mean, I'll answer this and then you answer this because this is a good question to ask. Because there you are. You're in your Chevy and you are getting tapped, okay?
Are you mocking my truck?
No. I would say, thankfully, me having the truck that I have and me being prepared as I am, I probably have enough bullets between you and I, and now the whole world, thanks to this podcast. I probably have enough bullets. So I'm not necessarily concerned in that realm. I mean, in my truck, I probably have enough bullets. But do I want to take that approach? It's going to take me actually really feeling like that there is a threat for my life. And for me, that point where that Range Rover was, absolutely, they're breaking your glass, I'm shooting.
Yeah.
As soon as the moment that the glass breaks, in fact, probably even before that, if they're hitting my truck with things other than just their bare hands and fists, I'm going to start shooting.
Yeah. So my hope, you said I probably have enough bullets. My hope is it takes 1.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Right? Because from a tactical standpoint, the first guy that gets smoked, hopefully 49 other people see it and go, holy crap, let's get out of here, and they take off. That's what I'm hoping for.
Which is probably what's going to happen.
Probably. The however factor is we've pulled up multiple videos sitting here today, door kick cameras, video footage of that. You got a guy here in the parking lot, multiple people surrounding. We'll go over that in a minute. You got 60, 70 bikers surrounding. We just showed an intersection with 1,000 bikes shutting down the world. It only takes one idiot in that crowd of 1,000 to do something to get 999 other people to follow along.
Yeah,
if you don't
mob
think,
mentality.
You don't think that's the case? Ask Jim Jones. He somehow convinced 900 people to commit suicide by drinking grape Kool-Aid, right? So one person did it. Oh, I'll do this too. It's amazing what, because I've taught on this. I've been educated on it. I've studied under some masterminds. Dave Grossman, one of the greatest minds on the planet when it comes to the psyche of people that do active killings, like people that are they can kill with no mercy. They feel nothing. You study this stuff when you're in law enforcement, and you study what makes people tick, and then you look at herd or mob mentality. But there's so many different sides to this stuff. So just very, very quickly, when we'll dive into this, you got a mob of 1,000 people. One guy does something, 900 people follow along. They just do the same thing. You go to the Aurora movie theater massacre, go backwards however many years it's been now. They interviewed everybody that was in that theater, and they said, we thought when the guy walked in and started opening fire, it was part of the show.
Man.
Dude, interview after interview after interview. And if you watch the video footage from inside, it's uncanny because people don't move when he starts shooting. Because you got this paralysis by analysis. It's like, is this really happening? It's the Virginia Tech thing. It's lining everybody up, and you're watching people drop in front of you, and you're just sitting there doing nothing. There is something about the psyche inside that you just lock up, you freeze, you analyze, you can't make your body do something. Your legs go to tree trunks, you become numb, you start out thinking it. And in the case with the Range Rover, the guy clearly, because they interviewed the guy, he's like, look, everybody in my car thought we were going to die. I hit the gas. I didn't know what to do. I just hit the gas. There were people that wanted to go after him and charge him criminally for killing or paralyzing people. I'm like, he used his vehicle as a defense weapon against a bunch of other people that were knowingly, willingly, and intentionally attacking him. So when you go to this video, what's interesting about it is it's in broad daylight, it's recent, it's fresh. But the point that I want to make before we hit play is in law enforcement, and I'm going to share a super fast story. I got a guy at gunpoint. It's a Berg. He's coming out of a business. He broke in, so it was a liquor store, shattered the front window, came out the back door. He's carrying a case of something. I draw down on him. He drops the case. He puts his hands up, and my partner's going to go arrest him. It's a super simple takedown. Very, very easy. The guy was totally compliant, 100% compliant. There was no resisting, no nothing. He literally set the case down, put his hands up, turned around, put him up on the wall. I dropped my gun down because he's not a threat at this point in time, but I'm 10 feet away. I'm prepared. We still don't know if we have somebody else in the building. We're waiting. And out of nowhere comes this lady. Just, she sees it and she comes over and she literally runs up between my partner and this guy. And she goes, don't arrest him. Don't arrest him. He's a good man. I know him. I go to church with him. True story. I had 3 seconds prior to that, I got the guy at gunpoint. And this woman just runs right up in the middle of everything. This kind of thing happens in law enforcement hundreds of thousands of times a day.
Man.
Unembellished. People will just jump up in the middle of something thinking they're doing the right thing. Like, and in her mind, she's like, I know this guy. He didn't really mean to fill in the blank, break into the store. I share that story because I could share 50 more just like it and 50 more on top of that, and I'm one cop. These kind of things happen all the time because you don't know how people are going to react, is the point. You don't know what you're going to deal with. So when people say, why don't you just? When we watch this video, I bet we can dissect it down. I bet we can have a whole bunch of why didn't they just moments.
Yeah.
And because I've not seen this whole thing yet.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing this. This is going to be my reaction to this video.
Okay, well, here we go. This is the video. We've got the video pulled up for those who are listening and not watching. We have the video pulled up here of the parking lot scene in this stabbing in Michigan. That's what we started talking about in this episode. So we're just going to kind of watch it and break it down here. Let's press play. All right. Oh, it might have just been, I might be on the wrong clip here, actually.
Oh, this looks like a news
Yeah, you're
highlight
right.
thing.
I might be hard-pressed to find that on YouTube, actually. I think that the first time I saw it, it might have been on X. Let's see if I can find it.
I saw it Sunday at church. It popped up on a feed. And I don't think it was live, but I think it had just taken place. Well, I'm going to let you dig. I don't dig at the same time. The point that I was making a second ago, and I'll make again in a different way when, again, I think we're going to be able to unpack this thing, is it's easy to assume that you have the answer or that you would do something until you're in it, is the point. And I look at these mob mentality videos or these biker videos or these takeover videos.
There we go.
You
There it
just
is.
don't know what you're going to have happen.
So here he is. It's the guy with the dreadlocks right there. I think it's dreadlocks. I don't know. Maybe not. But, yeah, he's got the gun. You can see him. He's holding it sideways. So there's the comment you were talking about with the people saying learn how to hold your
I
gun.
am perfectly okay with that at 3 feet. The bullet's going to come out the same way.
I mean, here's
so
the
guy
thing.
with
Here's the thing. Right away. He already did what we will tell everybody never to do.
yeah, he's approaching him with a gun.
Knife attack, what do you want to do?
Create distance.
Create space.
Yeah.
He is closing space.
Yeah.
With the knife beats gun at close distance. No, most of the time.
Yeah.
And so that's what we just saw. I am so surprised to watch this back and really be talking about it and looking at it from, with you, because look how close he is to this guy.
Yeah.
That's bad business right there.
Well, who's the guy in the purple shirt too?
He's backing him up apparently. That's what I know of the video that I've seen. The guy in the purple shirt's basically just backing him up. I think the guy with the purple shirt is the guy who had the loudest voice.
Oh, for sure. He's screaming at him.
Yeah, but it's the guy with that hat on and
there comes a woman walking by, probably has no idea that this is even happening right now.
So, I mean, look how many people are just around
And
this
look,
guy.
and
This other guy, look, hey, he's not. That reminds me of your instance of being in Walmart.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And thankfully, nobody got stabbed in your instance. Probably, thankfully, because you were there. But not too long ago, and you shared the story on the podcast.
A few Christmases ago.
Christmases ago,
Yeah.
you shared your story, and I see what this guy right here's doing with his shopping cart.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad idea there if you don't have another weapon.
Yeah, it's a great barrier.
Why? Because he's creating space.
Yeah, it's a
which
great
is what
barrier.
you want to do in a knife attack.
By the way, folks, for any of you that haven't seen this video, I suggest you watch it. And I give you one one piece of tactical advice right now, and Jared just said it. If somebody pulls a knife on you, create space.
Yep.
The bullet coming out of that gun is going to travel anywhere from 1,000 feet per second to 2,200 feet per second, depending on what kind of round he's carrying, what kind of gun he's got. That he doesn't need, the guy with the gun doesn't need to close space is the point. That bullet's going to get there plenty fast. So don't step up on somebody with a knife. Stepping up on somebody with a knife just because you have a gun in your hand, you can still get hurt or killed even though you've got the gun.
Look at the way he's holding his gun.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I understand, he's a veteran. 2 Marine veterans, hailed heroes.
Yeah.
So I think that the guy in the purple shirt and then the guy holding the gun, I think they're both veterans. I could care less about him holding the gun sideways, but the way that he's holding his gun with his thumb over the slide, that is probably what bothers me the most.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of gun it is. I don't know what the instance is, but if he's holding the slide like that, and he fires, let's say that this guy bull rushes, right, with the knife, and then he fires, he misses. Well, you didn't just now rack another round, most likely, because you had your thumb over the slide, and now you're getting stabbed.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it didn't go down, but here we are just breaking this down. Why? Because these are scenarios that we talk about in self-defense and in being prepared. With a gun, you want to take away space.
Yeah.
It's a longer range weapon. You want to take away space. You want to get it offline to where it's not pointing at you any longer if you're having to deal with a threat that way. Most of the time, you and I will both agree, somebody has a weapon and they want something, just give them what they want. If they have a weapon and they want your life, well, then you're in a different situation where it's time to throw down and it's time to give them everything you've got. It's me or them, right?
Yeah.
In this situation, the guy with the gun really should have kept his distance, but the guys that are around him aren't really giving him that decision, that ability either.
I think they were driving him forward too. And this is what I talk about. So you got a little bit of herd mentality here, even though you've only got 4 or 5 people. It's who's giving them orders. This is why when it's cop and cop, 2 cops and 1 suspect, we don't have 2 cops talking. We have 1.
Mm-hmm.
1. You make eye contact, you de-escalate, you bring your voice in, and you just do what we're doing, like I'm looking at you right now. But if I got another guy over here screaming at you, kind of like the guy in the purple appeared to be, and I don't know, I'm not hearing what he's saying, but clearly there's so many things that are wrong with what the guy in the purple is doing.
Well, it looks like he's holding something too. I don't know if that's a knife. I don't know if he pulled a knife, but it looks like he's holding something. I don't know what's in his hand.
He's trying to take verbal command, and that needs to be relinquished to the guy with the weapon.
Oh, no doubt.
That's first and foremost.
That should honestly be a part of people's training. If you pull,
it's part of the training we give.
If you pull a gun, you're the one who's telling people what to do, and that includes the people around you who, if they're trying to help you, hey, get behind me. I have a gun. Get behind me. Don't get in front of me. I don't want to flag you. Get behind me. I've got this under control.
Yeah.
And then you're the one taking charge.
It's in every training we do. That we don't, even if we just do husband and wife training in their own home, we still train to one person controls that dynamic.
Yeah.
Every time. Because you're going to triangulate, you're going to split the difference. The bad guy's got to focus on both of you at that point in time. And in this particular case, they were just all walking and following. That could have gone very bad very, very, very quickly, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's pretty much the majority of the clip that we have, and they're just yelling at him and just kind of circling around him in the parking lot. But there's definitely a lot to be learned, but we still also just have to give credit where credit's due. It can't all be negative, because at the end of that situation, obviously they were able to de-escalate. They were able to keep him from harming anybody else. So hats off to them for that, and for them to even stepping up to the plate and doing something about it, because this could have been another situation where nobody stepped up and nobody did anything. But thankfully there were some guys that stepped up and did something, and they stopped it. They were heroes.
Yep.
Any way you look at it, they were heroes. But we could still watch what they've done, and we can say, how can we do it better?
Yeah, you know? the thumb over the slide is bad juju. I mean, you may not be able to chamber another round. You're certainly going to get good finger bite. If nothing else, you're going to have a nice little scar there for the rest of your life. I don't know the guy's background, and it could have been just in the moment. Here's the other thing, folks. And I said this earlier about the cop coming around the corner of the gun. He has half a second to determine, is it life or death? And in the NFL, you're going to review that play 27 times, right? It's super, to me, it's a great analogy, because the focus from the sports world is was he in bounds? The focus over here was I going to die, and I had half a second to make a decision. In this particular case, there was a lot of things that could have been done differently for sure. But I also don't know that guy's state of mind that pulled the weapon. He could have pulled the weapon with full intent to put this guy on the ground verbally and say enough. And then the other guy just kept supercharging the issue.
Yeah.
And so he may not even been thinking proper hand position and grip and all of that stuff. It could be what we can't see there because we're looking at his back. He might be saying something to the other guy the whole time, like, I got this, dude, back down. And he's not focused on anything else that's going. You just don't know what you don't know, because
very true.
It's like you said the other day, I loved it. You said, I'm not going to get cradled in my own gym. And I went, it just stuck in my head when you said it, because I was watching last night and I was like, dude, he's about to get cradled. He's about to get cradled. For you not listening, or for you not, if there's no jits people out there, Jared owns the Rock Jiu-Jitsu team gym, and he's the professor.
That's where we're coming to you from right now.
We're live right now in his gym, and there's nothing worse than being the gym owner getting tapped in something that you definitely don't want to get tapped in. But I bring this up because it's really easy to get Americana. It's really easy to get Kimura. You could be a very seasoned dude and make half a second split decision the wrong way. You're thinking you're setting somebody up, and the next thing you know, you're that gummit, right? And it happens. That's a live situation. We're talking about rolling on a mat, making each other better. That's a live situation with multiple citizens intervening, screaming, yelling, doing whatever they're doing with a semi-non-compliant guy who just cut or stabbed 11 people. You got to give props to the guys even willing to step up. There's people that would have never even stepped into that situation. Now, can we go back and dissect it and pick it apart? Yeah, we can. We can do the NFL thing, and was he in bounds or not? But in that 3 to 5 to 8, 12-second window, I bet 1,000 things were going through that guy's head that had that
no
gun.
doubt. Yeah.
And it could very well be, I got to smoke this guy. I don't want to, because I don't want to take human life. But I got this guy over here in the purple short yelling, and I got to get him under control. And now I keep getting run into by somebody with a shopping cart behind me because they're following me with a shopping cart for some reason around the corner of this car. Oh, by the way, here comes a woman, very obliviously, I can say that. Did you catch that? She just walked by and looked at it. She just stared.
Then you got another guy just recording with the phone.
Yeah. So, you got all this going on.
Recording.
Plus whatever background noise is happening, because I'm sure there's people screaming and yelling that have been cut. There's probably people yelling for help. So you got all of this happening. And it's easy to go, dude, why do you have your thumb on the slide when you're looking at the video? But I'm very quick to default to defend the man who's willing to step up
100%
and face evil head on. And
still
that's
got
what
to
he
give
did.
credit where credit's due, and he's definitely due that credit. And all three of those guys, shopping cart guy, purple shirt guy, and gun guy, they all had their place, and they all had each other's backs. They were ready to do what was necessary, and so props to them for that. Always just want to take these opportunities to be able to learn and grow. That's it. What can we do better next time? How can we keep ourselves more safe? How can we make sure that if this situation happens and we're the one who has to step up and be that stopping force between evil and innocent, how can we make sure that we're the most prepared? Well, it's through continuing to have a student mindset, looking at all these opportunities to grow and to learn, and making sure that we're applying it and we're also training, which is very important. Get out there, get somewhere, train.
Yeah.
Train.
I will say, I mean, you summed that up well for a pretty easy segue. Come down and learn jiu-jitsu. Come down.
That too. Yeah. That's
come down and let us train you at Core Freedom Alliance and find out what self-defense is truly all about. Find out what tactics are really all about. Because this whole, I'm going to go carry a gun. I went to a CCW class. I went out and I fired 20 rounds into paper. That's all good and fine. It's incredibly not effective. And
I mean, these guys are veterans.
Yeah.
And you see the veterans, they've had training and they still mistakes.
And you're going to make
training.
And so
important.
we teach and instruct. And every gal that comes to our class, every guy that comes to our class goes, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. Good. That's exactly right. Because I don't want some one-trick pony or some 5-step process. It just doesn't work that way. You are investing into yourself if you're going to come train with us. And you're going to train for an extended period of time. I can teach anybody eye gouging self-defense that's a female inside of a Saturday afternoon. We can hold a really cool class and teach you how to protect yourself from that standpoint. But if you really want to learn genuine self-defense, yeah, you're going to do this for weeks and months, and you're going to invest into yourself, and you're going to feel empowered. And every gal that does this, especially on the self-defense side, comes in there like, one, it's not what I thought. Two, I can't believe how I feel coming out of this. And then we take it over in the tactical world. The dudes that, and they can be legitimate shooters, but it's what they learn that they come out of it with. They thought, I would have never contemplated 90% of what you taught. And that's the stuff that we need to be focused on. It's not just getting a gun and being able to punch paper. It's just not being able. I've got one simple example, and then we can close. I've got a guy that can literally at 15 yards shoot a playing card in half. He can shoot a tic tac off the wall at 15 yards. He's a heck of a shot with a pistol. Make him run around the building once and come back in, he'll have a hard time finding the target, much less the tic tac. Once you get winded, once you get tired, once you're in a fight, once somebody's pressing you, are you breathing? I mean, that's something we didn't talk about here at all, but I guarantee you, through all that yelling and all that screaming, those guys came out of that exhausted after about 60 seconds. I bet they walked away and they were like, because you hold your breath. People don't realize you hold your breath. And all of this stuff comes into self-defense and tactics and all the things that we teach. It's really outside of the box thinking that makes you very, very efficient. Plus, understanding the legals of when do I step in and do something versus the greatest fight you can win is the one you don't ever get in. And that we teach a lot of that. We teach a lot of how to not get into the fight. But if you got to get into a fight, here's what you do.
Yeah.
And I love doing it.
Yep. There's nothing like being prepared and helping others be prepared. It's definitely, there's something about it.
It's a calling.
Absolutely. But there we go. That's what we've had to talk about today. I'm sure we could keep on going, but we will leave it at that. And we'll have certainly a whole lot more to talk about in the next episode. So you want to close this out?
Yeah, I'll close this out. Father God, thank you for this opportunity to come together today, look at real-time, real-world events. We know that evil is real. We know we have good men and women that want to stand in the face of it, and we want them to know how to handle these situations. We ask that you would just be with our country right now. We have a lot of waywardness. We have a lot of division. We have a lot of finger-pointing and a lot of blame, but we don't have a lot of strong leaders. And I'm grateful for good men like Jared and other men that are in this gym that are willing to step up and lead their families, lead their businesses, and lead in the right way through you. And so we close this day out in your son's precious name. Amen.
Amen. And by the way, JWI is this Saturday. Pit Boss Grappling. Look it up.
Dude.
And you'll know what I mean. Till next time.
Till next time.